It's Tiffany's Content with a meltdown headed to the United States very soon, but not before this huge ice storm that we have currently viewing up in the United States. We're going to talk about it, but first we're going to talk about this meltdown that we have coming our way, and we are all excited about it. The snow is starting to ease off to the side of the roads. A lot of rain is starting to come down, but that ice is very important right now because it can turn into black ice, can be slippery roads. Good news is all that snow is starting to melt down and turn into water, but the thing is it's so cold out that it's starting to freeze back up and turn into ice. So just be careful of that. Even though we have a meltdown, it could be turning into ice because of the temperatures are still cold out there. So you can see on the streets there's still going to be a lot of snow going along with this meltdown. A lot of cars will still be trapped, but we definitely have a meltdown headed our way, and you can just see it. A lot of trees are dripping and a lot of icicles are, melting down, and you can definitely see that the snow is starting to ease away and phase on out. And we can tell by that, climate prediction. And just mapping it out, you can see here that above average temperatures will take a toll on the United States very soon, as early as this week, and it'll definitely have above average temperatures and everything will start melting down. But look at Alaska, it's still going to be below average temperatures and still be freezing cold out there. Now, above average does not mean it's going to, be warm. It's still just going to be warmer than it usually be. Okay, even in the precipitation, there's above precipitation level that we're normally used to seeing this time of year on that west coast, and even on that east coast near the Carolinas, going up into Delmarva Peninsula and even Baltimore and New Jersey. That's going to have above average precipitation. But again, going into the next 8 to 14 days, you're going to see above average temperatures for the United States, and everything is going to start melting down and drying out, okay? Except for Alaska there. You see Alaska still have that cold temperatures coming in. Now again, this does not mean it's going to be hot outside, okay? It just means that it's going to be warmer than it usually be around this time of year, okay? But it's still going to be cold. But look at that, the Midwest is starting to warm up, and that's what we need. No more negative temperatures, okay? And now this is the precipitation, and you can see for the next 8 to 14 days, it's going to be a lot of precipitation than normal on that west coast, and it'll be going into the central plains, okay? And then it's going to be dry and below average on the east coast, and then it's just going to be normal towards that middle central plains and really south. And again, in Alaska, a little bit more of the West Alaska, it's going to be normal, but that East Alaska is going to be wet, okay? And that's because it's towards the United States. Now let's take a look at the anomaly here, and you can definitely see that warmer temperatures are starting to come in, and it's shooting down from, the stratosphere. So you're going to see all that warm temperatures coming down. No more Arctic blasts, okay? Not right now, okay? So that red is more of that warmer, and then that as you go into white, you'll see it starting to get, average, and then that blue is more below average. But you can definitely see that warmer temperatures starting to come in here on that. And then even for the precipitation, you'll see that most of that precipitation will be more down towards the south, okay? So you'll see a lot of precipitation in the south coming up for the next this is the next week anomaly, and you'll definitely see that. But look at the west coast, definitely different than that east coast. That east coast is going to have a lot of precipitation over on that side, more than average than usual, and we definitely want to see that coming in as well and help melt down some of that snow. But again, if it's so cold, it can turn into ice, so just be aware. And you can see, looking at the drought map here, you can see where all that drought is, and it's mostly in Louisiana, going up into Arkansas, Mississippi, and Alabama. Definitely Tennessee has some droughts up there, and then even in the Midwest, near Kansas, and going into Nebraska, definitely near Minnesota, you're definitely going to see some droughts up there, in Iowa as well. So it's just a lot going on. Also in New Mexico over there by Arizona, and even in Texas, some droughts, okay? And you can see that on this drought map here, definitely where the extreme drought is, or where the drought remains, and all that brown is definitely have the drought remaining there for a period of time. So that's where most of the rain is needed. So we always like to show you this map so that you can get an idea of where all that dryness is. And that, don't worry, because that rain will be coming in and you know, giving it some moisture in there. And getting right into the action on Pivotal Weather GFS, we're going to be looking at today. You're going to see that right there. All that ice is forming up in the central plains there with that rain and, you know, lightning and thunderstorms. It's taking a toll on that Midwest, bringing in more snow with that activity. But then as Wednesday come along, you're going to see the more system coming up out of Texas with all that thunderstorms and lightning, definitely going into, you know, towards that Louisiana area, and can even be tornadic, you know, activity, you know, going into Wednesday and Thursday, okay? And this will stay, you know, happening, you know, Thursday night going into even Friday night and towards the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So it's going to be a lot of rain activity, you know, towards the end of the week with lightning and thunderstorms coming over that East Coast, and it's trying to melt down some things, and you're going to be able to see another, you know, low pressure coming through towards that end of the week. Very strong area of low pressure with thunderstorms, lightning, and also helping to melt down. But it also depends on that temperature too. If the temperature, you know, isn't that cold, then it'll, you know, start melting down. If it's cold, it'll start freezing up and then turn into black ice. But look at how calm it is towards, you know, after this week. It's definitely going to start melting down, and then it's going to get colder. But let's take a look at those screenshots. This is for today. That ice, that snow, and that rain is mixed up. You can see that also, you know, coming out of the West Coast, and even some snow there up on the, you know, upper West Coast. Still activity down there, but look at the Gulf. That's where that system is trying to come in with all that rain, lightning, and thunderstorms, and it's trying to go right in, you know, like a cyclone with a big area of low pressure right into the central plains, trying to meet up with that Midwest and clash up the East Coast, okay? Trying to, you know, turn into lake effect snow. And actually that next day we're going to start seeing a little bit more snow over there by the Great Lakes. So just stay tuned for that. I'll keep you updated. This is Wednesday going into Thursday. You're going to definitely see some, you know, thunderstorms, lightning, and tornadic activity. And then you're going to see that ice and that snow starting to form in the Midwest, like I told you. And even more snow coming in on that West Coast. So just be aware, everything is trying to unthaw and melt down, but it's still some action out there, okay? There's still a lot going on. This is Friday. You can see some of that snow is moving more into the mountains in Colorado, but that East Coast has definitely had some rain and thunderstorms, but that'll be what's lightening everything down and thawing everything, and hopefully it does not turn into ice like it is today. We got a lot to talk about today. Let's get back into some more action. Let's see what's happening. You can see all that orange is that ice, all that green is that rain, and this is going into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. All that snow and that, you know, winter activity is coming from the West Coast, colliding with that system in the, you know, Texas, turning that into ice, and then going right up that East Coast, but, you know, leaving rain over in the South, trying to melt things down and unthaw things. And this is for today. You can see all that ice activity, all that winter activity, that, you know, pink is that ice, and that purple is that freeze and that winter activity warnings. And then we still have that freeze warning down in Florida as well. So you can see it's a lot going on even on that West Coast. You're going to see a lot of that flooding activity over there, a lot of that ice and winter activity, and even some wind and fog over there as well. Even coming up out of Texas, you're going to see some flooding and fog, dense fog activity. And look at that wind in Louisiana and flooding. It's a lot going on, and it's still current snow down on the ground. This is what we have right now. 20 inches over there by the, you know, Great Falls going into the mountains. Look at 48 inches over there in Washington going into Oregon. Even California have snow, and then going into the Midwest as well. And for the next 48 hours, you're going to see where the new snowfall will be coming down. Again, all that activity from, you know, the Gulf Coast will meet up in the Midwest, and it'll be cause another little snowstorm, only 2 to 4 inches here and there. So just be aware of that. Things are still trying to melt down, and you can see that in the frost freeze temperatures. No negatives in the United States this time. This is great. It's starting to warm up, but still quite cold out there, okay? What does it feel like? Look at that. It feels like 20 degrees and not negative 20 today, okay? It feels like 10 over there in the Great Lakes. It is starting to warm up. Look at that, 50 over there in California. And you know the South and Florida have even up to 60 degrees. So it's starting to warm up. Look at the Gulf Coast, but that is not good because it's going to start clashing with that mid system with that ice. So this is the, you know, highs for today, and just look at that, 18 degrees up there. It's better than negative 18. And then you're going to see, you know, more moderate temperatures in the, you know, 35 in Kansas going into Oklahoma and things like that. But look at the Gulf Coast. It's red because it's starting to spruce up those storms and that tornadic activity that's starting to meet up with that ice storm and that system in the Gulf. So it's going to be warmer down there. And when that warm meet up with the cold, that's when we have a problem. And this is for today's lows. So you're going to see it's going to get colder tonight, especially in those mountains over on the west coast, but still better than we have been seeing for the last few days. And take a look at the hazards outlook again. That Gulf system brewing up that I told you that's warm, it's meeting up with that freezing rain. It's going to cause an ice storm. Even on the west coast, a lot of heavy precipitation. This is the outlook that we have. You know, definitely flash flood warnings in the Gulf, so be on the lookout for that. Definitely coming out of, you know, Arizona and New Mexico and going right back into the Gulf. A lot of, you know, flash flood warnings, and definitely a lot of precipitation will be coming in that Gulf Coast because of that warm meeting with that cold. And you can see that on this map here too. Excessive rainfall definitely over that west coast and coming up out of the Gulf Coast. This is all in the next 48 hours. Look at that, an ice storm. Like I've been telling you, I did a video yesterday with the ice storm, so make sure you go visit that. We have some ice storms out there because all that rain is turning into freezing ice, okay, before it can even, you know, reach the ground. And when it reaches the ground, it's slippery, okay, and turns into black ice. So yes, it's raining, it's still cold, but that ice is freezing up in mid-air, and some is unthawing, giving us a little break, okay. But look at that heavy rainfall in the Gulf for the next few days, and also as it move up into the northeast. This is the amount of rain we'll have for the next few days, and that's a lot because we have a lot going on. We have ice storms, we have snow still coming in, we have things trying to unthaw but freeze right back up. And you can see this is today, this is where all that ice is, okay. So just be aware, it's very serious out there. We still have an ice storm. I told you I did a video, so make sure you go revisit that. In fact, let's look at where the current ice is for today, and you can see it's almost, you know, a half an inch of ice in certain places, and that can get up to an inch of ice. So you have to be careful because it's steady raining and constant rain coming down, and the temperature can depend on whether it turns into ice or not. Let's take a look at the ice going up the east coast. You can see it there. It's trailing right along in that Midwest, okay, because it's still so cold up there. So all that rain is turning into ice and bringing that ice storm and ice accumulation. We can see that on the goals. There's still a lot of moisture coming in. I'm going to show you now. See all that moisture coming in, a lot of precipitation, but that yellow and that orange is definitely rain and lightning and thunderstorms, okay? So you got to be careful of that because that can even cause tornadic activity with that warm air meeting with that cold air. We also have an ice storm out there because of all of this, so just be aware, okay? Make sure you're staying tuned to Tiffany's content. I am not forecasting, I'm not predicting. We are just reacting to this crazy weather out there, and the National Weather Service loves that we share these maps and videos and keep everybody updated. It's the thing to do right now, making sure that everybody is safe and making sure that they're aware. A lot of people do not watch the news, so I'm here to help you react to this weather. It's Tiffany's content. Like, share, subscribe.